Lawsuit City, lawsuit City bit. Let's get into it. Bad Wolf. Once again, guys, it is the Bad Wolf. Wolf. Your international man, international, interdimensional, intra-dimensional, interdistrict, district 7, district court. We're talking about lawsuits. Let's get going. So, as always, guys, hit that bell, like, and subscribe. If this is your first time here, welcome to the tribe. The truth will not be denied from your favorite national, born natural, Bad Wolf Unincorporated, which there's also a YouTube channel, Bad Wolf Unrestricted. And now there's two Facebook groups, the Bad Wolf Unincorporated, the Bad Wolf Unrestricted. You can also find Bad Wolf Unincorporated or James C. Lovett on TikTok and some of your other platforms. But if you want to be sure, either email me and ask me if this is me, or go to blacksite32.com, go to my social platform, social media page, social media, and see if it's on there. Okay. Above all else, make sure you do not send anybody anything, nothing, unless you have confirmed it's me with my known email address. Okay. Don't invest. Don't send any nudes or anything crazy. All that should be sent to me. I'm just kidding. Well, am I? Maybe. Anyway, all right. And you're of age. Okay. Because, people in this country be wild. Nah, that ain't me. We don't get down like that. Not ever do you have to worry about anything crazy like that. I do not partake in anything underage, criminal, illegal, etc. That is not our thing here. We're about the truth and rights as grown as adults. Now, lawsuit. So, some people have and don't know how to file a lawsuit. All right. So, especially as a national. So, let's go through the basic steps. All right. And we're going to go through the basic why. So, you've got a problem. Most likely, you were doing either right to travel. That's probably about 90% of it, right? Is that. So, this is primarily for right to travel, but anywhere across the board in these United States of America, Moroccans. Some of y'all might have caught that. If they deny you of your right, now a lot of people, if they deny you of your right, you should be suing. No more of this Mr. Nice Guy. Now, what I mean by that is you're not here to argue on the side of the road. If they're gonna, if they're gonna do unlawful things, as long as they're not physically essaying you or about to end you, okay, because we know what our rights are then in those moments, all right? But if it's just over right to travel, whatever else, survive through the scenario so you can sue them later on. Don't take any law or unlawful or illegal things into your own hands. That goes against what we stand for here. This is for the law abiding, constitutional, private citizen, national of the United States, real, grown, non belligerent, non combatant American. So, whatever your event was, memorize every aspect of it. You're also going to want to get like the write up, the complaint. You want to get all that. I have other videos on stuff like that, more in depth on www.jamesclovett.com. This is a general overview. So once you have your event, a lot of people write down everything, little things that don't mean anything to you. But if you bring them to me, I might say, oh, no, that's absolutely sue for that. But even though there's small things that there's pieces, you want to make sure that you're suing underneath the right action. This is where a lot of people mess up, or they get denied, or they turn it, or it's wrong, or whatever else. For me, the number one action generally associated with these types of events, where they're not giving you your rights under the Constitution or common law, is because you're being denied your rights as a national. Ergo, we should be suing under that. A lot of people sue under, 241, 242, denial of rights, and color of law, which those can be good things, but generally they don't fit what we're doing. See, when you're saying you're denied of rights under 241 or 1983, what is it? I should probably just look it up. But anyway, denial of rights under 241, 1983, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Um, you are basically stating that you're operating as a U.S. citizen who has been denied those particular rights. Okay. Color of law 242 is cops operating as if they are the real law. And well, we all know that they're not. They're a color of law. Okay. Now, sheriffs and marshals are supposed to be the law. I think mostly marshals are still operating lawfully. A lot of sheriffs have gone corporate. Okay. So they might be subject to a 242 as well because they're supposed to all be under the Constitution. But because of how they're set up, they can operate constitutionally, though most of them don't. They operate commercially, statutes and codes instead of your rights, common law, constitutional things of that nature. So we're going to take a look at that first before we get going. As always, guys, hit that bell and subscribe. Hope everybody is having a positive, warm, but healthy, safe summer. Now, let me throw this out there too to you guys too. Okay, just so you guys can see if you don't see the differences. When you look at a lot of these gurus, and I've been doing this since day one. So let's see if they change. Let's see if they're becoming better people. Some of them are already on point and they're good. A lot of them don't seem to be welcoming. They don't seem to be telling you things like, hey, double check my work. They don't tell you things like, how are you guys? Be healthy, be safe, whatever. When people, I'm not saying they're bad people because they don't do that. Some people just aren't naturally, it's not their jam. But it to me, those little things, even if somebody didn't mean them, goes a long way because it shows that they care. It's not just the money, it's not just the fame, it's not just the whatever. They're actually communicating with you on a personal level, or they're trying. They're showing that they're good people. Maybe it's just me. Now, let's take a look at what we're talking about, and then we'll jump into what you actually need to know. Um, okay, you know what? Hold on, let me see. Who would sue under 18 USC 241, section or subsection 241, deprivation of rights? The statute itself is a federal criminal law that prohibits conspiracies to deprive someone of rights secured by the Constitution or laws. It does not create a private right of action. That is, it does not allow individuals to sue directly under the statute in civil court. Instead, it's prosecuted in federal criminal court. However, If the deprivation of rights involves state or local actors, you see this? Who are they talking about? They're talking about either state directly or local actors. This is how they talk about police and, well, now sheriffs. Okay, because they've been operating more, corporately than constitutionally. A lot of them don't even know this information, so I'm sure they're probably pissed off with half the stuff I say. They just don't know. Okay, so once again, even though we've got 18 USC 241 deprivation of your rights, being denied your rights that are secured by the Constitution or the law, it says if it involves a state or local actor, so these would be your judges, your magistrates, your law enforcement, police, um, sheriffs, etc. The civil remedy, okay, key word here, civil for such harm is typically found under 42 USC subsection 1983, which allows every person who, under color of any statute, color under color means not the real. So who's ever operating under not the real statute, ordinance, custom, custom generally, once again, would be like your name in all capitalized letters. That's a custom. It's also regulated under the UCC. Or usage of any state or territory, your state ofs, the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected, any citizen of the United States. Now remember, citizen of the United States means everybody in the family, including nationals. But this is primarily not for nationals, but so if they were to deny it, that could be why, because they're going to look at your event and how you're moving, how you were moving in that event, or other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any right, privileges, immunities. So once again, nationals fall under the immunities. It's not a privilege, it's a right. And we have the rights. So we have rights and immunities, not, and then only privileges when we're operating as a US citizen. So what they're saying here is anybody can sue state or local actors under a civil remedy, 42 USC subsection 1983, when these in fact are secured by the Constitution and the laws, shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit in equity, or other proper procedures for redress. Who can sue under 1983? Okay, who can sue under 1983? Okay, so let's see. First we talked about 18 USC 241, deprivation of your rights. The party injured, this can be a US citizen, including non-citizens who are persons within the jurisdiction of a state or government. Non-citizens. This would be the national. But this may not be the best, so it's possible that they may reject it because they're also talking about legal persons like entities or businesses or whatever. A state or local government employee or other person subject to the state or local law. The plaintiff or the complainer. The defendant acted under color of state law, statute, organization, or ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage. The defendant deprived the plaintiff of a constitutional or statutory right, privilege, or immunity. So whoever complains, meaning you, must show that the defendant, if you do it under 1983, acted under a state law, local statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage. Custom and or usage would be the all caps name, and assuming that you're operating in that capacity. So they're forcing joinder, which is a federal offense. They're forcing you this peonage. They're forcing you to do something. The defendant deprived you, the complainer, of a constitutional right, statutory right, privilege, or immunity. The deprivation was caused by the defendant's actions or omissions, what they did not do. What did they do? And what did they not do that they should have done? How 241 and 240 how 241 and 1983 relate. 241 is a criminal statute. It criminalizes conspiracies to deprive rights, and only the government can sue under it. Okay? So they're saying the government. Now, this might mean, say for me, like Lovitica, can sue under it. But this is where a lot of people go wrong. You don't you don't want to do 241. I know even in some of my earlier videos I might have mentioned 241, but now we understand why that it didn't work. This is the wrong thing to sue. Shot goes out to A6 Grind Time, young cuz. Hopefully you're on the mend, and shot goes out to you for the inspiration for this video. Dedicated and by most suckers hated. And also Bruce Lee. 1983 is a civil statute. It allows private individuals to sue for damages when rights are deprived, often in cases involving state and local actors. So this would be your general lawsuit. So not 18 USC 241. That's when the government goes after them for what they've done. You want 42 USC subsection 1983. In practice, if a conspiracy to deprive rights is committed by state and local officials or actors, the victim can sue under 1983 to recover damages, while the government may also pursue a criminal case under 241. In short, no one can sue under 18 USC 241. So this is why it wasn't working. Because you are doing this. This is the government's job to go after them. This is why if you do report these municipalities and those officers, this is not for you to do. It's for, so once again, guys, share this video. Share all my videos. Show my motto. Okay, sorry, I don't really have an editing crew to do that, but you just imagine a wolf running and then howling, okay? Okay, cool. Use your imagination, people. In a private civil case, only the government can. For civil, okay, this is civil redress. The injured party can sue under 42 USC 1983, deprivation of rights caused by state, lowercase s, state or local actors.
Who can sue under 18 USC Section 242? Under 18 USC Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law, The statute itself is a federal criminal law that criminalizes willful deprivation of constitutional or federal statutory rights by someone acting under color of law. It does not create a private right of action for individuals to sue in federal court. If you are asking about who can sue in a civil context, the relevant statute is 42 USC Section 1983, which is often used alongside Section 242. Section 1983 allows.
So what she's saying here is that you want to go after them for, I can ask it if we should combine those two, but generally it's under 42 USC 1983, which if often used alongside of 242. So you can combine these two actions together. Okay, that answers that question. Let's keep going.
Allows. Any person who is deprived of a constitutional or federal statutory right, privilege.
So what did they just tell you here? These are not the same things. They appear to be basically the same things. They can look like them, but they're not the same thing. If you were denied of a constitutional right or a federal statutory right, because remember, they made their version of the Constitution. So there is the Constitution, and then there's the federal statutory version of it.
Privilege or immunity by the acts or omissions of a person acting under color of law to sue in federal court for redress II/Legal Information Institute. This means that anyone, including individuals, organizations, or private parties, can bring a civil action under Section 1983 if they can show the defendant acted under color of law, e.g., a public official or employee acting in an official capacity.
This would be the police, the judge, the sheriff, any of them.
Capacity. The defendant deprived them of a constitutional or federal statutory right. The deprivation was caused by the defendant's acts or omissions. In practice, Section 242 is often cited in Section 1983 cases because it defines the under color of law element. For example, a victim of excessive force by a police officer, a false arrest, or other official misconduct can sue under Section 1983, and Section 242 may be used to support the claim that the official acted under color of law. U.S. Department of Justice +1.
Okay, there's a lot of information here. Your primary action in going after them is 1983. But then also claiming that they were operating under color of law, pretending to be the law. Now, when I say this, this is not a knock to police officers, especially not to my good ones out there. The ones who are dicks. That's just what it is. That's a personal thing, and then they're abusing their power. Blue line of secrecy, right? So what they're saying here is that look, you sue them for actually what they did, but then you're saying not only did they do that, but they basically made me believe that they were the law. Now, what does that really mean? The real law is the Constitution, period. Supreme in the United States, all over. It saturates everything. Period. Even my private trust, even my private government is saturated by America. It reaches in there. But there's different jurisdictions. The Constitution is lawful. Police officers are illegal. What does that really mean? It means they're operating within a separate, smaller bubble that appears to be bigger, appears to be more powerful, but it's not. Legally, it's a paper dragon. Looks scary. It's not. Not that it shouldn't be respected, but it's a private bubble that is so widely used now, it's called the public. And there are laws, their laws, which are allowed by the government for their people. U.S. citizens. The police are allowed to govern U.S. citizens. They're not allowed to govern unless you deny somebody else of their right, you do something criminal in the act of something criminal, public safety concern. the national and state citizen. Those people are considered to be non belligerents, non combatants, beneficiaries, grantors at the law, superior in these events, and their bosses. We, the people, are governed by our consent. We created the Constitution, and all things underneath it are then underneath us. We are the law. We don't need to go around saying, I'm the new law dog here. Hold on a second while my computer acts funny.
What's got you chuckling about your computer? Did it do something unexpectedly entertaining?
Nope, never mind.
Bad.
Not that they're listening or anything, you know. So there's the big bubble. Okay, let's stop sharing for 1 second. So that might be real information. I don't need you guys to see all my goodies. We'll use Ron Gibson's book here as a demonstration. So here is America. Everything within this landscape border is America. Okay. We are on the outside of it as nationals. We're over here, me in the real world. I'm holding the Constitution and everything that's in the United States and United States of America right here. So we'll just put like a bubble here. Well, actually, so the whole thing's a bubble. The whole thing, the whole book, right? So you got government, okay? They regulate everything within these borders. So we control the book as nationals and state citizens. Okay. So we up here, my finger, that's how we plug in. Little tiny speck, but extra powerful. Here's the government's bubble for their federal statutory citizens. They control, regulate all this for us, so we don't have to do it. They then created another bubble and they said, okay, here are going to be the state ofs. We're going to call them public, states, etc. When we from out here jump inside of the backyard, we are, well, actually, we're creating an entity down here, the U.S. 14th Amendment citizen, which is also then a member and gets plugged in up here. We are on the lower half under the water of their bubble, partially in water, mostly in water, partially on land. Government, they're under the Constitution, so they're plugged in right here. Constitution. These people, though they have a plug to the Constitution, the law says that they can have their own Constitution members, their own PMA, Private Members Association. We, when using our 14th Amendment side, the public, are plugged into here. Member of theirs, underwater, which also plugs into the government. Okay? All of this is allowed to happen under the Constitution, which plugs in here, here, here. But the government allows them to do business. So when they're doing business, not the real law, then they're acting under the state's UCC or Commerce. Sorry, it's all squiggly, but you get it. That's what's going on. The national exists outside of their reality, unless you do something to be regarded then as a citizen, because you have both, and then this becomes one of their jurisdictional persons. Because when you, as a national, cannot behave yourself, or you operate or act crazy, belligerent, wild, um, illegally, criminally, unlawfully, you're just plain crazy, then you fall into their care, their administration. When the states do it, you're then under parens patriae, meaning your parents are the state. Okay? So let's get back over there. All right. So let's keep going.
1. Key points. Section 242 is a criminal statute. Only the government can sue under it. Section 1983 is a civil statute. Private parties can sue. Both apply to acts.
Now, do you notice how it says private parties? Because really the only one that's considered truly public is the government. The states, though they are called the public, are actually private parties themselves. But for legal purposes and reasons, they are called the public. But still, yet, they're a private party. So when a cop pulls you over, he believes you're a member of their private party, known as a public U.S. citizen under the 14th Amendment. Share my video. Follow me on Facebook, The Badwolf, unincorporated, and The Badwolf, unrestricted. Thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Sorry about that little, commercial plug there. Both apply to acts committed by public officials or actors they're acting, meaning they're not really in, but they're acting, pretending to be in official capacity. So they're in a type of official capacity, but not the official capacity, which is the government. Even if outside their lawful authority, if they are acting in the performance of official duties.
Acts committed by public officials or others acting in an official capacity, even if outside their lawful authority, if they are acting in the performance of official duties. U.S. Department of Justice. If you are considering legal action, you would typically file a civil rights lawsuit under Section 1983, referencing Section 242 to establish the under color of law element.
Okay. Now that you understand this, that your action should be a 42 USC 1983 supported by 242, 18 USC 242. This is what, not that you can't do, not that you can't do this. This is good too. But if you get turned down or denied, or what I would prefer you do would be Okay. So I ask, can I sue in the federal district court under 8 USC 1503, supported by 242? Okay. It says you can bring a claim under 8 USC 1503 in federal court, district court, if you meet the statutory requirements. That's a yes. But 242 is a separate criminal statute and does not provide a civil remedy in the same way. Whether you can sue under both depends on the facts of your case. So you can sue under 1983 with 242 or 42 USC 1983 and 8 USC 242. You can use those two together. But for 1503, it's just 1503. Okay, so now let's go through it.
Read less.
No, read more. Because reading is fundamental.
You can bring a claim under 8 USC Section 1503 in federal district court if you meet its statutory requirements. Like. Dislike. You can bring a claim under 8 USC Section 1503 in federal district court if you meet its statutory requirements, but Section 242 is a separate criminal statute and does not provide a civil remedy in the same way. Whether you can sue under both depends on the facts of your case. 8 USC Section 1503, Civil Action for Denial of Nationality Rights. Section 1503A allows a person within the United States who is denied a right or privilege as a U.S. national, e.g.
Whoa, yowza. 8 USC, subsection 1503, civil action for denial of rights, nationality, denial of nationality rights. National, right here, national rights within your nation as a Native American. Natural rights. If you're denied any right or a privilege that is given, any right or privilege that's given to a U.S. citizen that you are being denied, any right or liberty or freedom or privilege that you have that's not breaking the law, if there's no law against it, it's your right. There's no law against right to travel. As a what? A U.S. national. This is why, pause, put it on me. Put it on me, girl. Bah! Bruce Lee reference. Rest in peace, brother Bruce Lee. This is why if you don't do your lawsuit under the right action, they will deny it and they're not going to tell you why. You've expressed to them that you're not competent. But what does this also tell us here? That the U.S. national is a real thing. Now, when I bring this up, if you notice, it didn't say anything about labeling yourself here as a U.S. citizen or as a state citizen. It didn't say anything about labeling yourself in your lawsuit as an American state national. It said U.S. national. This is not a slight on the ASNs or anybody else's little groups or whatever else. It just means that if you're going to go after these local actors, judges, whatever, you need to put down what the government says you are to them in order for them to go after them with you or for you. That's playing the game. Now you understand why some of these gurus and belligerents and whatever else, they're not giving you the real shit. You can call yourself whatever you want in the private, but then understand that when a cop doesn't know what you're talking about, it's because what you're talking about is something private. So you must use the interface word: private citizen, U.S. national, non-resident, non-resident alien. In the private, you can be whatever you want. Call yourself the Captain Martian, Mud Monkey, the third. Doesn't matter. What do you do? What does it all mean, Basil? Doesn't matter. When you deal with the government or with these enforcement individuals, you must use words that they speak because you're trying to communicate to them in the public, and they're public. They speak public terminology, words, phrases, customs, usages, ceremonies. They don't, they should be made aware of us. They should know the real words that we use and go by and respect that to the utmost as their job per their oath to the Constitution. And I hold each and every one of you to your oath or be dealt with under the laws of treason. End scene. When they're out there, they're in public capacity. But they know a little bit about, and the reason why it pisses me off is because some of these three-letter agencies only want to refer to and so labeled sovereign citizen or the movement because they look at it as a group. But some of the things in there are muddied terms, and there should be a constitutional brochure pamphlet, Flowers by Irene, that the gov and these three-letter agencies issue to other agencies and to municipalities on the bottom end as end users so that they understand that there are constitutional rights, laws, and freedoms at play here and are to be acknowledged when so requested and not trampled on in some kind of corporate debacle of denial of your rights and privileges as a national. The ones moving criminally or illegally, process them as they are supposed to be done. But this negative stigma against people trying to get their rights and then them who are doing it right as opposed to the wrong, those who are doing it right should not be lumped into that group, should be clearly identifiable and identified by these agencies, letting the police, the judges, lawyers, attorneys, whoever, sheriffs, etc., that certain persons, private citizens, are also people under the Constitution and are referred to not only as private citizens, but as U.S. nationals, foreign nationals, state citizens, Floridians, Wisconsinite, Alaskans, New Yorkers. Now, that's not going to save anybody doing something criminal or unlawful, but existing privately out of their membership, the states of, by having your own vehicle, an automobile when used privately, a motor vehicle when registered, are separate things jurisdictionally. And by law, must be identified as separate and respected as such by all persons within the United States and America. Let's get back.
Like. Dislike. Suing in federal district court under 8 USC section, you can bring a claim 8 USC Section 1503, Civil Action for Denial of Nationality. Section 1503A allows a person within the United States who is denied national, e.g., passport, certificate of citizenship, to sue in federal district.
Whoa, 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 hold up. Did you hear what it said? Let's go back. See, some of y'all be breaking apart piece, just okay. See, I shut down. Yeah, so that's them probably hacking into my feed, slowing it down, probably making it sound all choppy because I just shut down all of the open resources, so it should not really be doing that. So yeah, it is what it is. You guys like to keep an eye on me. That's fine. You guys should really tune in really close to my personal time, right around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Only bad wolves. Let's go. It said you can file a civil action for denial of nationality rights or denial of rights and privileges as a national if you are in fact a U.S. national, i.e., meaning everybody, or for instance, the passport. This is why we do the passport, because they're telling you basically without the passport, how are you proving that you're a national? It's the passport. It's a goddamn passport. Because guess what that also is? Your passport's also a certificate of your citizenship, which really means your nationality. To sue in federal district court for a declaratory judgment that they are a national. So, yes, if somebody was wise enough, you can actually take the government to court on an action to give them to force them to give you recognition other than the passport, your certificate of nationality.
District Court for the denial must be by a U.S. department or agency official. The issue of nationality must not have.
So the U.S., if they deny you, or agency that's official, that would be your police station.
Have arisen in a removal proceeding unless that proceeding is terminated. The action must be filed within 5 years of the final administrative.
You have 5 years from the event to go after them financially or in equity.
Administrative denial. Jurisdiction is in the district court for the district where you reside or claim to reside II/Legal Information Institute +1. This is a civil action seeking a declaration of citizenship, not a criminal penalty. 18 U.S.C. Section 242, Criminal Deprivation of Rights. Section 242 is a federal criminal statute that criminalizes willful deprivation of rights under color of law, including on account of being an alien II/Legal Information Institute. It is not a civil remedy and does not allow you to sue in federal district court for damages or declaratory relief. Instead, it can be prosecuted as a criminal offense against the person who committed the deprivation. Can you sue under both? Yes, in a limited sense, you can file a civil action under Section 1503 to get a declaration of citizenship, and if the same conduct also violated Section 242, that could be prosecuted criminally. However, Section 242 does not create a civil cause of action for damages. It is a criminal statute.
So it sounds to me like they're saying, hey, if you go after them for 1503, they're going to have to grant you a declaration of your citizenship, which really should say nationality and that you are a national. And then if you do use 242, that could be prosecuted criminally.
Statute. No, if you are seeking only damages. If your goal is to recover damages for deprivation of rights, Section 242 does not provide a civil remedy. In that case, you would need to pursue a different civil claim, e.g., under the APA, 42 USC Section 1983, or state law, if you are outside the US or in a different context.
So if you're trying to get if your goal is to recover damages, money for deprivation of rights, 242 does not provide a civil remedy. So if that's what you want 42 USC 1983, and then mention 242.
Practical considerations. Jurisdiction. Section 1503 actions are in federal district court, not the federal courts of appeals. Removal proceedings. If your nationality issue is still in a removal proceeding, Section 1503 does not apply unless that proceeding is terminated national immigration project. Burden of proof. In Section 1503, you must prove you are a U.S. national. Burden of proof. In Section 15 1503, you must prove you are a U.S. national. In Section 242, the government must prove willful deprivation under color of law. Bottom line, you can sue in federal district court under 8 U.S.C. Section 1503 if you meet its requirements, and Section 242 can be relevant if the deprivation also meets its criminal elements. But Section 242 itself is not a civil remedy and does not allow you to sue for damages in the same way Section 1503 does.
So 242 can help with your 42 USC 1983, but it by itself is not a civil remedy. It's like a support piece. Okay. That, my friends, looks like the next video. So, that being said, guys, it's either going to be 42 USC 1983 with support of 242 or 8 USC 1503. How do you find your federal district court? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you stayed for the bonus round. That's what she said. Let's say you're in Illinois. Illinois probably has a northern and a southern just because the state goes this way. So there's not much east or west, but I could be wrong. Might be. No matter what you do, you type in on your search engine federal district court closest to, and you put your address in there or your zip code. It's then gonna say you are in the northern, southern, eastern, western, or whatever district court. Once you find that out, it may even have a link right to their website, or you can go right to type in Illinois Federal District Court, go to their website. You'll say find your district, click on your state, click on what half or part of the state that you're on. Boom, that's your federal district court. Once you click from there, it's lawsuit time. Rack City B. Follow the instructions. If you need help, use this video or contact me for a court case consult. And I'll talk to you guys later. Be safe out there. Travel safe. Everybody be blessed and safe. And take care of yourselves. Stay healthy.